So the crypto market and the stock market ended up crashing on Friday, and that led to the price of ADA crashing by around 65%, to which we ended up reaching around 27 cents. Now, of course, this crash has led to a lot of people questioning if whether or not we are still in a bullish market or a bear market. And me personally, I'm still leaning more towards us being bullish. And part of the reason why I think we're bullish is because we have responded in a really positive manner. And so, for example, since this crash, we ended up surging by around 150% to the upside. And you can also see that on the daily chart, the bears are losing the momentum. And so at some point, I'm anticipating the bulls to continue to regain control of the market and drive the price of ADA up towards high highs. Now, if I go in the 4-hour chart, what you can see is I've been tracking one of two structures, with one of which being a WXY structure to the upside. And in order for this structure to be in play, what we needed was for the price of ADA to not breach past the previous local low at 75.42 cents. And if it did so, then that would then mean that ADA would then tap into this range between 68 cents to 73 cents. Now, of course, neither did happen, and we ended up seeing a deep move to the downside, which no one anticipated. And so as a result, what we have to do now is to readjust our structure slightly. So if I go back to the daily chart and just remove some of this now, and what you can see is I set out this target a few months ago between 35 cents to 44 cents, where at the time I was looking at for a correct move to the downside made up of a WXY structure. And at the time, I did think that we ended up bottoming out over here. And the reason being is because we ended up seeing a surge to the upside made up of 5 waves, which then signaled that we were on a bullish trend. And of course, we ended up breaching past this swing high at the time, which resulted in a breaker structure, indicating that we were on a bullish market. But of course, we did end up getting rejected at around $1.02, which then led to this deep move to the downside where we more or less tapped into this range here. And as a result, it looks like the Y wave ended up playing out, which was made up of a WXY structure. So this was a W wave, this is the X wave, and this is Y wave. And so if I bring in the Fib tool and bring this to $1.02, so what you can see is the price of ADA never retraced towards the 1.6 minute level, which tells me that this was not an impulsive move, and instead it was a corrective move made up of a WXY structure. And of course, we ended up exceeding the 1.236 level, given that we were in a bearish market with people, panic selling and a lot of people being liquidated. And yeah, so given that we ended up having this corrective move play out and we ended up seeing this move to the upside play out, it does look like we ended up forming this WXY structure to the downside, and we could see that recovery to the upside. And so one of two structures could be in play right now, where we could still have this 5-wave structure that was initially tracking at the beginning of the year, or we could have a WXY structure that's playing out. And so if I remove this and remove this, so it's very much possible that we could have a 5-wave structure where rather than the wave 1 playing out over here, it could have topped off over here, and this WXY structure could have formed the wave 2, and we could have the wave 3, 4, and 5 play out in the next few months or so, like so. And if that's the case, this wave 1 would then be made up of a 3-wave move, where this here will be the W wave, this will be the X wave, and this will be the Y wave. And you can see that this W wave would then be made up of 5 waves, with this being a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this wave Y would also be made up of 5 waves, with this being a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And because the wave 1 was made up of a WXY structure, that then means that the wave 3 and the wave 5 will also be made up of a WXY structure. Now, alternatively, it's possible that instead what we could have forming is a bigger WXY structure to the upside as opposed to a 5-wave move, where this WXY structure could form the wave W, and this WXY structure could form the wave X, and then we could see the wave Y play out like so. And if that's the case, then the next key target would be the Y wave target, which typically retraces anywhere between 1 to 1.236. So if I bring in a Fib tool and roughly bring that to around 27 cents, like so. So the next key target for ADA would be this region between $1.60 to $2.40. Now, if the price of ADA was to extend beyond the 1.226 level and retrace towards the 1.618 level, then it's very much possible that instead what we are forming is the 5-wave structure that I just talked about. And so, of course, that's something I'm going to be tracking in the days and weeks to come, and I will be keeping you guys updated. And before I end the video, one thing that I did want to mention was what has taken place recently with regards to this move to the upside during the time of recording, where we have exceeded the 50 EMA, once again signaling that we are bullish. And it does look like a 5-hour structure has been triggered, also signaling that we are on a bullish trend. So if I bring in the fib tool and bring this down to 61.76 cents, and so what you can see is we ended up exceeding the 1.6 level at 66 cents. And as a result of that, it looks like we have a 5-hour structure that's forming right now, where this is a wave 1, a wave 2, and we have the wave 3 that's playing out right now, a wave 4 and a wave 5. What I'll do very quickly is check to see what's taking place within this recent move here by bringing in the fib tool and bringing this down to 63.7 cents. And yeah, it does look like we are on the brink of actually retracing towards the 1.6 level. And if it does so, then it's very much possible that we are still within this wave 3. And what we are forming within this wave 3 is a 5-hour structure, where this is wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and a wave 5. And in short left, we could see a retracement to the downside to form wave 4, followed by a push to the upside to then complete this 5th wave. And it's very much possible that we could actually retest the 200 DMA on the hourly chart. And during the time of recording, that's just at around 76 cents. And you can see that we are in the overbought conditions. And so if we do retest this level, it's very much possible that we get rejected, which then lead to the smooth to the downside. But we'll be anticipating another push to the upside at some point. But again, that's something I'm going to be tracking in the days and weeks to come, and I will be keeping you guys updated. So yeah, that's just my update on Cardano area. Hopefully you found it useful, and if you did, then feel free to hit the like button, and if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.